In today's video, I'm going to be going over 10 fragrances that I would say would be the best bang for your buck kind of fragrances. Now, most of these are going to be more or less for the summer, less of for the winter, but more or less for the warmer weather. But there are a couple on this list that can be used as like signature scents or something that can be worn year round. But before we get into that, if you are new here, welcome to my channel. Welcome to the best fragrance channel that there is on YouTube. Shout out all my other reviewers that are watching this. But yeah, let's waste less time. Let's get into it. So the first of the 10 that I want to share with you guys is going to be a fragrance that is primarily worn in the winter. But the reason why it's on this list is because it is compared to a much more expensive fragrance. It's roughly around $100 is what you can find it for. The fragrance that it's compared to is like right there at it, plus an additional note. I own both of them. I wear them both and I get the same joy out of both of them. Now, number 10 is gonna be a fragrance that has the sweet, the honey, the tobacco, the oomph behind it that is necessary when it comes to a winter style fragrance. It's gonna be something that cuts through the wind, it cuts through the cold, it cuts through those heavy, winter nights. And it could possibly be worn in some like spring, colder nights. Not for the summer. This is not going to be a summer fragrance just due to the tobacco, the honey, the cherry that's in it. Number 10 goes to the sweet cherry honey tobacco fragrance that is Pure Havane by Terry Mugler. Now, a lot of people say that this is very similar to Naxos by Davidoff. There is a bit of a sweeter cherry, almost metallic-like note in this that's not quite in this. The Naxos has a bit higher of a quality over the Davidoff, but the price difference here is what's really pulling you in. Like I've said, if you can find this for under $100, jump on it. Especially right now with it being in the warmer weather, you can probably find this for a discount or somebody trying to get rid of it. And again, y'all, that was Pure Havane. Next, we have a fragrance that's relatively new to me in my collection. It's one that has really impressed me in terms of it being a freshie. It's one that the fruit notes in it are very appealing. The aquaticness about it is a fragrance that is a lot like a bunch of other blue fragrances, plus an additional melon note. This is one that I would say would be best for out of the shower. It has the citruses, it has its aquaticness, it has its nice things that make it very appealing for the spring, for summer. Number 9 is going to go to Antonio Banderas Blue Seduction. This is basically Versace Menu Fresh with a mega melon note. This is such a good fragrance. It's such a perfect out of the shower fragrance. Perfect, I'm going to the pool kind of scent. It's so enjoyable and it's so cheap. If I could recommend one fragrance for you to pick up this summer that's cheaper, that you know is gonna be cheaper, the one that you can just spray heavily and go, this right here. I would honestly recommend this one over Nautical Voyage, which Nautical Voyage is a great fragrance, but this to me just smells more wearable. I don't know about better because I love Nautical Voyage and I haven't owned this for long enough to really give it that, that cast, that pillar. But it's up there, y'all. It is up there. Do not sleep on this guy. Do not sleep on this one. And number 8 on this list, guys, is gonna go to one that you probably hate or you probably love. One of the two. There's no real in-between on this one. It's gonna go to a fragrance that has this pineapple, citruses, it's birch, it's smokiness, it's similarities to a much more expensive fragrance like Creed Aventus. It is gonna be one that's getting a lot of hate. I don't think I can share this video in Jensen's Fragrance Family, the group, because talk about this fragrance and what it's a clone of are not allowed there anymore, apparently. It's gonna go to number 8 is going to go to Club de Nuit Intense Man. I bet a few right now are like fuming, like, oh no, he brought up the Aventus clone. Whatever, it's good. You know it's good. It is Club de Nuit Intense Man. Now, I feel sorry for some of you guys that don't have this batch because there is a before batch that I had that I gave away because I didn't enjoy it. If that's the one you have and you just like it, okay, I get it. But this one's really good. This batch is really good. I've had 3 of these. This is the best one that I've had so far. Doesn't have that sharpness to it. In my video review of this, I sprayed it really heavily. I think I wore like 10 sprays of it. I didn't get anyone complaining. I didn't get any weird feeling from it. All I got was compliments and that I enjoyed this, how it smelled on me. I was literally like almost chased down wearing this thing. But guys, again, that is Club de Nuit by Armaf Intense Man. And for number 7, we're gonna switch gears a little bit. We're gonna come to a spring fragrance that is very affordable. It's one that can be found at rack stores. Fragrance Net is pretty cheap, but if you can find it out like at the rack stores, I would highly suggest that. I think the TJ Maxx's and the rack stores are gonna start opening up pretty soon. And chances are those places are gonna be loaded with fragrances. I would be very surprised if this was not there when they open back up. Because there's always typically one there. Every now and then, like once, twice a month, they have like a load of these kind of show up. It's gonna be your fresh white floral, your fresh musk. It's gonna be a banger for summer season, for warmer weather. It might not be the best for projection and longevity, but this scent is great. It's gonna go to John Varvatos Artisan Pure. And next what we have here is gonna be the Venice Italy fragrance is going to be one that's going to remind you of being on a beach walk. It's going to be something that reminds you that some fragrances have poor projection and longevity. It is going to go the cheap summer fragrance banger all-star, in my opinion, Varvatos Artisan Pure. So that's a nice citrus fragrance. So pleasant. It's one that is going to be extremely inoffensive. It's going to be one that is going to be extremely easy to wear and enjoy. Now, I've smelled most of the Varvatos line, and this one is my favorite. I still need to get my nose on the vintage, I think it is, and the original Varvatos, but this is my favorite from the Artisan line in terms of the Artisan Aqua and Artisan Blue. I really enjoy this one. And next what we have here is going to be a fragrance that I've included in quite a few of my list, but I finally got my hands on the actual fragrance outside of having the deodorant spray, because that's what I was using. That was my only way of referencing this fragrance. But now I have my hands on it. It's going to be something that's very similar to Green Iris Tweed. It's also very affordable. You can find it at Walmart. I think I got this one for 22 bucks. You know, it's a 1.7 ounce, but I don't see myself really ever going through it unless I, fall in love with the fragrance, which it is great and I really enjoy it. And why it's on this list is because it's powerful, it lasts, it's timeless. It's going to go to Davidoff Cool Water. Very enjoyable, very long lasting, and it projects very heavily off my skin. This is one that, this is more or less a beginner fragrance. This is one that when you have your 5 fragrances lined up and you're trying to pick out what you do and don't like, this should be one of them that you kind of go through, because this will help gauge you in terms of finding which fragrances you like. If you're into aquatic, green-like fragrances, this is going to be one that you're going to enjoy a lot. With a musk to it, with a manliness to it, yeah, this is going to be a good one. And like I said, Davidoff Cool Water is pretty similar to Green Iris Tweed, but obviously there's not going to be the exact same. It's going to be not as high as quality in my opinion, and it's just going to be a cheaper version of it. But it is a great bang for your buck fragrance, without a doubt. Even if you only use it when you're out of the shower or like on days off, still a great fragrance. And again, you guys, that was Davidoff Cool Water. And next what we have here is going to be basically a fragrance line. It comes from a store that you go and buy candles and whatnot, but the fragrance that I have here is going to be a knockoff of Dior Sauvage pretty much. It's going to give you that same Dior Sauvage kind of vibe to it. A bit more of a sweet citrus in the opening, a bit more of a juicy citrus in the opening. It's gonna go to Midnight by Bath & Body Works, which is gonna be super similar to Dior Sauvage, but like minus like 80 bucks. Super enjoyable, and this is hands down gonna be one of the best for your buck. For sure. One, I highly suggest going into Bath & Body Works in general and checking out their men's fragrances, because most of them are awesome. A lot of them are great, but some of them trying to struggle in terms of their performance. Like I have Ocean by Bath & Body Works. It smells amazing, but the performance is kind of lackluster on it. But then again, it's super cheap, so, And the really cool thing about Bath & Body Works is they sell these little decant size of the fragrances. And yeah, and you don't have to buy a big bottle. You can just straight up go buy a decant for like 15 bucks of it, which might be a bit pricey for a Bath & Body Works fragrance, but this is a great substitute for Dior Sauvage. I've been bringing this with me to spray on days where I wear Dior Sauvage, and this is what I spray on later on in the day if I need to put something else on. Because normally speaking, I don't. My Dior Sauvage lasts me like 10 hours on my skin. So I don't normally need to spray this, but when I do, I mean, you guys can see I've used a little bit of it, and that's not just from me spraying these videos. I've actually used this thing quite a bit. And again, you guys, that is Midnight by Bath & Body Works. And number 4 goes to, again, basically a fragrance house, but their fragrances are very affordable. They seem to have put all their money into the fragrance versus the bottling or the design, because the bottling and design is basically like a block of glass with a little, slap on a little label on top with a cheap little metal cap. Anyways, it goes to Cremo, which this is their Silver Water and Birch, which I've seen comments in my comment section that are kind of, going back and forth with this one, saying that they like it, they don't like it. I love it. I love this one. I love the Blue Cedar Cypress. I love most of the fragrances. If I was into like bourbon and oak, I'll probably enjoy that fragrance, but I don't. I haven't tried Leather Nude. I'm kind of excited to see if they're coming out with anything new. I know that they're now selling like deodorant and stuff. I'm kind of looking forward to see if they start selling new scents of their fragrances, seeing as recently they've discontinued the Leather Nude and I think the Bourbon and Oak. I know that there was 2 that's been discontinued. And again, you guys, that was Cremo, Silver Water, and Birch, which is a great summer fragrance, like a great summer gym bag fragrance for roughly about 25 bucks. And next what we have here is gonna be one that I've said before, and I'll say it again, was one of the most impressive blind buys of last year, and also one of the most impressive rack store buys from last year. One of the only fragrances that when I left the rack store, I didn't have the highest hopes. I saw it hyped up online a little bit, and I thought, blue aquatic, whatever. It's gonna be blue aquatic, and I was really surprised. I was really surprised and impressed, and the fact that I enjoyed it as much as I did and sprayed as much as I did. Anyways, that goes to Aqua E by Salvatore Ferragamo. Now, I've heard others say that there is the Aqua E Blue that's more enjoyable. I haven't tried that one. All I can speak on is this one, and that I really enjoy this one. Blue might be a little different. I know that there's some similarities to other fragrances with that. I enjoy the scent that is this. I don't necessarily think this is a replacement for any other, more expensive fragrance. I kind of think this stands on its own. And like I said, it's really enjoyable. It has that sweet aquatic, that sweet citrus in it. It almost stays linear. It might get to be a little musky in the dry down, possibly. And it's not sharp. It lacks that sharpness that a lot of the aquatic fragrances tend to have that, help them project and reach out. This tends to lack that one and kind of replaces it with a sweet note, which has made this also a pretty compliment heavy fragrance for me as well. Which again, guys, that is Aqua E by Salvatore Ferragamo. And number 9 on this list goes to a fragrance that's probably the most expensive on this list. But at the same time, it is still, in my opinion, one of the best bang for your bucks kind of fragrances, because it can be worn in winter, it can be worn in summer, it can be worn year round, compliments galore. It has so many positive qualities to it in terms of projection, longevity, the scent, everything about it, in my opinion, is just great. If you can find this for under 100 bucks, jump on it, because it is great. And honestly, this is one that's kind of hyped up by some of the reviewers here. I've heard 5280 Scents talk about how he enjoys this fragrance. And one thing that these designer houses like to do is that, I don't know if they just listen to us and then they say, okay, we're gonna discontinue this fragrance now, but they tend to discontinue fragrances that reviewers really hype up, and I don't know why. Speaking of that, I would like to show you guys my new bottle of Ultime, which apparently has been discontinued. I don't know, but I got this. Embrace it, like it. You're gonna see a lot of this on my channel. You're gonna see a lot of this bottle, much better. Number 1 on this list could be signature scent. It could be the best office fragrance. It could be, there's so many lists that this thing could top. There's also a bunch of lists that it could top for a negative reason. It's gonna go to one that doesn't have the best projection after a little while. It has great projection for the first hour for me personally. It brings in that compliment factor, it brings in that appealing factor. It doesn't have the best longevity. I wish if it lasted longer, awesome. This is one fragrance that I've talked about on here that I don't think these fragrance houses really care to increase the performance on, because their main thing are selling, clothing and not selling the fragrances. The designers have kind of perfected the art of the opening scent. Smell that opening, be like, oh yes, I'm gonna love this. And then an hour into wearing it, it's gone. But that opening is what pulls you in. And this one is the same as that, but the reason why it's on this list is because it's cheap. It's cheap, it can be found at rack stores, and the scent is so nice. And for me, when I'm inside and my body's not super hot, let's say that you're working in a controlled environment, this could very well last you 6 to 8 hours. I'm not saying it's not possible, because it is. It happened to me. It goes to Coach for Men. One of the most enjoyable scents that I have in my collection. It's one of the most enjoyable office scents, definitely, without a doubt. Like I said, it just doesn't have that longevity. It doesn't have that oomph behind it that would make it a banger of a fragrance. If the performance was as good as the bottle is, this would be a all-star banger of a fragrance. It is still, because the scent is amazing. I don't think I've met anyone that doesn't enjoy the scent of Coach for Men. But in terms of it being best bang for your buck, it's versatile, enjoyable. If you're okay with respraying, which they made it easy for you can just put it in your pocket and it won't spray, you're good to go, then this would be one of, if not the most solid one on this entire list. Don't mess with Coach Platinum. Not worth it. Don't waste your money on that one. That has its own positive qualities, but this is much more versatile. This is much more enjoyable in my opinion. And guys, that is that. I do have a bunch of fragrances coming in, so if you didn't see your favorite fragrance on this list today, chances are it could very well be in here later on. Like I said, I have a bunch more coming in. And again, you guys, if you entered in my vintage cologne giveaway, once I hit 2K, that giveaway is gonna be going for 5 days. So in 5 days after I hit 2K, that's when that giveaway will happen. From then, I'm gonna have to go through and write down every single person that has entered. If you're watching this and you haven't DM'd me yet saying you're in, please go ahead and do so. It makes the process significantly easier. But guys, like I always say, keep it gent and love your scent, and I will see you all next time.